Welcome to The Conscious Creative from MuseWorks Audio.
Welcome to vlog number 5. I'm really enjoying doing these. Thanks for tuning in week out, and just letting me talk about some things. You know, I do a lot of listening on the podcast, but it's nice to let people know what I'm thinking about and the things that I'm working on. So this week I want to talk about a book that I've been reading and rereading for the past couple months. It's called You2 by a guy named Pritchett. And I'll start off by reading a quote. This quote it's one of those moments when I read it that things kind of shifted for me in my perspective. And I'm going to read it out, and then I'll let you know sort of why it affected me so heavily. Your skepticism, which you presume is based on rational thinking and an objective assessment of factual data about yourself, is rooted in mental junk. Your doubts are not the product of accurate thinking, but habitual thinking. Years ago, you accepted flawed conclusions as correct, began to live your life as if those warped ideas about your potential were true, and ceased the bold experiment in living that brought you many breakthrough behaviors as a child. Now it's time for you to find that faith you had in yourself before. I think it's really interesting because for myself, I've always found it very easy to justify why I can't do something, or why I don't think I'll be able to do something, or why someone else could do something but I can't. And I always believed those justifications to be true. But reading that helped shift my perspective in thinking that it's not just because you disbelieve in yourself doesn't make it true. I'm sort of tending towards believing in my potential nowadays as opposed to my disbelief, which is huge. And the whole premise of this book, You2, is about having breakthroughs that don't necessarily come in incremental growth. I'm a big fan of habitual work and doing things daily, day in, day out, and like working to progress. And that's kind of how I've always thought. But this book kind of explains that it doesn't have to be this incremental growth. You know, you can have breakthrough moments where all of a sudden you reach a much higher part of your potential. And I think that's really interesting and something worth thinking about for everybody, because I think a lot of artists think that we have to like grind, take this step, then the next step, and then there's that step, and you sort of look at it in this logical step-by-step motion. But if you look at a lot of artists, I mean, granted, yes, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, but all of a sudden something happens and they're skyrocketed. And it doesn't happen to everybody, but I think it's important to remember that things don't have to necessarily happen step by step. And, you know, one connection, one song, one piece of content out on social media can move you past 5 steps to the point and change your life. So I think it's really important to think about these kind of things as like, it doesn't have to be a step-by-step like mathematical procedure. You can all of a sudden exponentially you can blow up. People blow up all the time, and I don't think I think there's a balance in terms of getting systems in place and understanding business and being strategic, but also being open to different possibilities that go beyond your like sort of day-to-day logical thinking. And I'm going to be diving deeper into his work over the next couple months. I've just booked a little course with him, so I'm really looking forward to sort of changing my thinking even more in terms of that exponential growth, and I'll keep you guys updated on that and things that I've learned and things that I'm thinking about, because I think it's really important to try and think about it like this, not like, you know, identifying as a starving artist is that kind of like self-defeating nonsense almost, in my opinion. So I would really recommend checking out that book. I think it's a really good book. I think it's really interesting, and I think you'll take a lot from it. It's short, so you can read it in an afternoon or something like that. It's basically a little pamphlet. So I would recommend, again, checking it out. Give it a read, and let me know what you think. The reason I want to be doing these is to have conversations with artists about things that they're thinking about and things that they're working on and the way they're approaching their creative process. So if you read this book and it affects your creative process, drop a comment and let me know how it's affecting your thought process and the way you're approaching creativity. All right, as always, thank you very much for listening. And follow me on Instagram at MuseWorksAudio. I'm doing a free 3-track EP mixed and mastered by MuseWorks Audio this month. It's a contest that's going to be wrapping up, I think, on the 30th. So try and get in there and register for it. I'm really looking forward to seeing the entries and see who is interested. I think it's a pretty rad prize, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, go check me out on MuseWorks Audio if you're interested in a free 3-track EP mixed and mastered. And yeah, other than that, click subscribe. Check out my podcast that I've been doing with lots of different artists. There's so many interesting conversations I've had about artistry and about business, and a lot of value for everyone to just like learn more about creativity and the best ways to approach creativity, or new ways to approach creativity, and new ways to create deeper art as well. So yeah, that's it. Well, thanks for tuning in once again, and drop some comments. Let's chat and shoot me a message on Instagram, whatever. See ya.